The major scale is a fundamental architecture of Western music and has been for literally centuries. Studying its potential and its impact is a task that may never be complete. I'm still running across ideas and ways to move and use the major scale, and I feel like I will be for forever. However, mapping that architecture on the fretboard, directly on the fretboard, is a finite task that absolutely can be completed. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris. Today you will learn a 2-string, 3-note per string pattern to complete mapping of the architecture of the major scale on the entire fretboard. And I mean complete. Like once we're done with this, you should be able to use that architecture anywhere on the neck within any context. I've done a few videos on this channel about the major scale and how to apply and map it. One is called long form major scales, and in that video I simply mapped the major scale for G through 3 octaves in a nice ascending and descending pattern. That was designed to really get your mindset out of this vertical application. And then there's another video that I did called Reprogramming the Major Scale, which is using just the octaves, single octaves, mapped across the octave scaffolding, which also allows you to then, depending on the context, apply these sort of octave-based patterns for the major scale. But each one of those examples leaves a little dark space in some spots of the neck, so it's not really a holistic mapping. The one I'm going to show you today is a linear mapping. So it maps across 2 strings all the way up and then all the way back down. And there are 5 sets of 2 strings. So once you complete this task, and it may take a little while, your mapping of the major scale will be as complete as I believe it can be. I haven't found any holes in this mapping. Like there are no places on the neck that remain unmapped or mysterious doing this. Okay, let me show you how it works. Okay, we're going to map the major scale to the entire neck. However, what we're not going to do is map the major scale to the entire neck. That's weird. I'm going to show you a pattern by which the end result will be you'll have the major scale mapped to the entire fretboard. But we have to approach it in a pattern-based method. So the way this is going to work, it's a linear pattern. In other words, we're thinking down sets of strings instead of across strings. And those sets are going to be 2 strings. So we're going to be thinking in sets of 2 strings. So those sets are E and A and D and G, G and B and E. Those are the sets of 2 adjacent strings. And the pattern we're going to map on there is 3 notes per string. So each chunk of the pattern is going to be a 6-note chunk using 3 notes per string. Okay. That's a lot of information. I'm going to play the pattern for you. I'm going to explain it a little bit more. You're going to see it and it's going to start to expose itself. It's going to start to look like it's tackleable. Then I'm going to give you the fret numbers and sort of unlock it and map it for you. And then I'm going to show you how to transpose it. There's bad news and good news here. The bad news always goes first. This is a big effort. You're going to have to work on this for a while to get the result, the end result, which is every single note of any major scale you can find and play anywhere on the neck. The good news is that once I show you this first pattern that's on the center 2 strings, we're going to be working on the D and the G string here. Once I show you that pattern, 90% of the work is done. The rest of it is going to be lots of practice and repetition, and then mapping it across the other sets of strings. And then it's going to start to expose itself to you. The context is going to start to shine through as you start to map it. I'm teaching you how to fish. I'm not handing you a fish. I'm going to teach you how to fish here. You're going to have to get the rest of it yourself. Here's the pattern. I'm just going to play it, then I'm going to break it down and give you the fret numbers. If, again, we're on the D and the G string here, I'm just going to play it through. That's the G major scale using those constraints, 2 strings, 3 note per string chunks. That's how it maps out. The good news is what I just showed you, when you learn that, you're almost done. The bad news is that that last 10% of work, let's say that's 90%, the last 10% is going to take a long time. But you're a curious guitarist, it's why you're here, you're already engaged, you're going to want to do this, and I promise you, this is the best way to map the major scale out to the entire neck. Okay, now I'm just going to give you the fret numbers, unlock the pattern, and just remember and notice that we're not really attaching any context to it. This is just pattern-based learning. This is an important way to do it, because if we were here talking about, and now that's the third, and now that's the sixth, and this is the F sharp, and watch out for the B string, like if we were going to do all that in one video, it would take a long time. So what I want to do is get this tool in your hands, and then allow you to go out and complete the task yourself. Here's that first pattern. It's symmetrical, right? It presents itself as 2 whole steps and 2 half steps. The fret numbers are this: 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7. Again, we're on the D and the G string. 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7. The next pattern looks like this. That's also symmetrical. That's 5, 7, 9, 5, 7, 9. The next pattern looks like this. That's not symmetrical. And that is 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 11. The next pattern is this. Again, not symmetrical. 9, 10, 12, 9, 11, 12. The next pattern is this. That's 10, 12, 14, 11, 12, 14. The next pattern looks like this. This is symmetrical again. 12, 14, 16, 12, 14, 16. The last pattern before we get up to the octave where we started is also symmetrical. It looks like this. That's 14, 16, 17, 14, 16, 17. And then we're back to where we started, up an octave. And that is 16, 17, 19, 16, 17, 19. Okay, there's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. The good news, like I said, is that's 90% of the work. That's 90% of the work. Once you get that down, now we're going to just transpose it and move it around. Let's fast forward ourselves into the future and say, oh, it's been a week or so, 2 weeks, however long it takes you. Don't worry about it. It's going to take a little while. But you've got the pattern down. You can go all the way up the set of strings. You know how to do it. It sounds right. You've got all the frets. Everything's cool. At that moment, check this out. You can just take this entire thing and map it to the other string sets very, very easily, with the exception of the string set that is G and B, because that B string sort of mucks things up. But check this out. Let's just say this represents that I know the entire pattern. If I just take that down an octave, now the whole pattern repeats on this set of strings. I haven't learned anything new. That's the exact same thing I learned on that center set of strings. Now just take it up an octave. Same thing. It repeats perfectly. Now, the 2 string sets that we've left out are A and D and that G and B set. The good news is that the A and the D string set have the exact same pattern again. It happens to start here. but it's the exact same pattern and it goes down the entire length of the strings. So you can transpose that exact pattern to 4 of the 5 sets. Now the G and the B string are a little different because that B string's tuned down a half step. So now we have to find out how it presents on this set of strings. That same pattern starts here now on the 11th fret. And while it is symmetrical, it skips strings and it moves up a half step. And so on and so on. But it's the same pattern. You just have to adjust for that one B string. Okay. The secret here is that there's a lot of work to be done. You need to take that single pattern, get that down, just memorize it. When you start to think about the key of G and you've got that pattern memorized, the context is going to start showing itself to you. Once you get that pattern down and you transpose it to the other set of strings, now you're really going to start to cement this together. And I promise you, after you take those steps, the entire fretboard will be yours. It'll be absolutely free for you to explore. You'll be able to see the entire thing. The only thing between you and that result is time and effort. Okay, there it is. What I would consider a complete mapping is attainable by leveraging this system. So as you saw in the demonstration, mapping it across 2 strings, it pushes you up the neck very, very quickly. And then transposing that same pattern across the string sets completes the vertical mapping as well. So really there are no holes. There's nothing left to map once you're done with this. I've tabbed this all out, and when I say all of it, I mean I've tabbed out all 5 string sets. In the demonstration, I just did that center set, and then I showed you how to sort of transpose it to the other sets. I've tabbed out all of the string sets, and that's available on Patreon. That's in the link in the description below. If you need that or would like to go get it, please do, and any support there is greatly appreciated. However, I just want to say, if you just use that center string set, spend a lot of time on it, and then transpose it yourself, you'll see that this is not a monstrous task, especially if you spend enough time on that first string set to really ingrain it and see the pattern. Then transposing yourself should be actually pretty easy. And I'm a big fan of getting that information yourself anyway, sort of remaining curious and pushing yourself to get the information. But if you do need the tabs, that's where they are. Okay, I hope this helps. Again, studying the major scale and thinking about and sort of, exploring the mysteries and the applications can be a lifelong journey, but mapping it on the guitar is a finite task, and this is the way to go get it. Okay, hope it helps. See you next time.